Let's pick up on that story with Robert Hormats, the former United States Under-Secretary of State for Economic Growth, Energy and the Environment. Robert, welcome back. Great to see you. With Janet Yellen saying the relationship between China and the US on a stronger footing. Clearly, there's much more to do. She said that in the press conference, and clearly no discernible breakthrough. How should we interpret this visit?
Well, I think what Janet Yellen has in mind in these visits, and as you know, this is her second one, is to at least establish a dialogue on the important issues that divide China and the U.S. So I think her feeling is that as long as there's a dialogue and there's a continued effort to engage, then it's stabilizing the relationship as opposed to not having a dialogue.
Let's look ahead, because however warm their words, there is political reality ahead, isn't there? It's an election year in the United States. Antipathy towards China is obviously running high. Ms. Yellen says it remains unclear what this relationship will endure in the months and years ahead. What happens next, do you think?
Well, I think that the U.S. side is going to continue to impose new measures, particularly in the area of technology, and semiconductors are part of that, and there are other elements to restrict highly sensitive exports to China. That's not going to change. Whoever is elected, whether if it's Trump, it could get a lot worse. If it's Biden, it's probably going to stay pretty much at the current level or a little bit increased. So I think the technology competition and the technology-related restrictions coming out of Washington on certain kinds of investment and certain kinds of trade are probably something we're going to have to recognize will be with us for a period of time. On the other hand, I do think there are opportunities for identifying what one Chinese official termed in a conversation I had on low-hanging fruit, and that is to say there are things we should be doing working together on the environment, on dealing with health-related issues that can be helpful and demonstrate to our people that our two countries, despite all the differences, also have a lot of areas in common. And I think that's an essential ingredient in building confidence and also demonstrating to people on both sides of the Pacific that we do have some things we can work together on. And we are, of course, still major traders. You know, we're not decoupling. The trade is substantial, not as great as it was, but still there. I think the issue of confidence by American business in investing in China is something that both sides have to work on, because a lot of American companies, as you know, are looking elsewhere for investment opportunities. And somehow I think there could be a good dialogue to reassure them with respect to investment in China. But that dialogue is going to take businesses working with businesses and governments working with governments, and the two of them together. I mean, the Chinese leaders have seen a lot of CEOs of American companies in an attempt to reassure them, and I think that is helpful. And when I was in China in December, I made the point that I thought that there were opportunities, but the confidence level, the trust level has deteriorated, and that trust level has to be restored.
Robert, what's at stake here if this relationship does not improve or stays where it is?
I think it's harmful to both countries. We are big trading partners with one another, and it will certainly adversely affect growth in China because there are certain goods that can't be purchased in the American market that are important components in the Chinese production process. And likewise, in the United States, the U.S. relies on a lot of things from China, components. And when you go to a major department store in the U.S. or one of these big box stores, as they're called, you see a lot of Chinese goods, and that does tend to help keep prices down in the U.S. and gives Americans a greater variety of things to choose from when they go shopping. So I think it has an inflationary impact, and it certainly has an impact on companies obtaining components and obtaining the kind of markets they would like to see in order to grow and grow their profits.
Robert, good to see you. Thanks so much for your time. Robert Hormats, the former U.S. Undersecretary of State.
Always a pleasure to be with you. Thank you.